Hello, today I'm going to look at a mini game. I've looked at a couple of these before. These are mini games from TSR. I've reviewed Revolt on Antares and they've invaded Pleasantville before. Today I'm going to look at Saga. And as the others, it comes in this plastic kind of box here. It's got a couple dice with it, which is nice. Often you don't get dice with mini games, so it's a good thing. It's Saga, Age of Heroes minigame, TSR from 1981. 2 to 6 players, age 10 and up. And their minigames come in these boxes, and from what I can tell, they come with 2 6-sided dice, and there's some variation in types of 6-sided dice you got. This one has the very old school where the numbers aren't colored in or anything. Good kind of comic book kind of look to it. Hero and monsters. Nice summary in back. And all the contents, the counters, the map, the rules book, the dice are all contained in this plastic box. Open it up. There's the dice. Kind of light. Not very heavy. Rules book. Credits designed by Steve Marsh, editor Stephen D. Sullivan, editing, writing listed there, supervisor David Cook, consultants and playtesting. Then the art by Jeff D., David S. LaForce, Errol Otis, and Jim Rosloff, and Bill Wellingham. Summary here. The early Middle Ages was a time of bold warriors, great deeds, and heroic sagas. Valhalla was filled with brave warriors who had done many glorious things and proven their right to be accepted in the company of the mighty. Saga minigame recreates a mythical time period occurring sometime after the fall of Rome, the age of heroes and Vikings. Each player takes a heroic figure and attempts to perform deeds that will generate enough glory to ensure that the hero's memory will live in the sagas. To gain glory, the heroes slay monsters, accumulate treasure hoards, recruit lesser heroes as their companions, and establish kingdoms. The hero who gains the most glory is one whose fame will live on in the sagas, while the others are doomed to be forgotten by posterity. And of course, there's a lot of good sagas out there. The Saga of the Volsungs is a pretty good one. Of course, there's always Icelandic sagas as well. Tend to get in the theme of the heroic deeds. Then the rule book. Rules cover 16 pages. Black and white, some art. A few tables in there for gathering luck and glory. Combat results tables in there. Information about the gods. They have different, give you different bonuses and negatives. Treasures, runes. Then at back is a record sheet, and you can copy that out, and that's how you keep track of your character. Where you keep track of it. Name, magic sword, starting country, glory, rune, luck, jarls, wealth, countries controlled. Countries under IS, which is a spell, and then you mark off your turns from 1 through 20. Here's all the counters. In this case, they're unpunched. It's kind of hard to get a copy of, so I was lucky to get a good copy of this. They're one-sided half-inch by half-inch counters. And generally in the counters you have in the upper left the combat factor, which of course is used to figure out the combat results. Movement factor, which is the number of areas the map may move in one turn. And then the name of the character, and then a physical representation there. So of the counters, you have the heroes in blue here, Siegfried through Egil. And then you have magic weapons, magic treasures, trolls, ghosts, drow, giants, witches, and dragons. And these are the Jarls. Magic swords, of course, provide various bonuses and sometimes additions to combat. Dragonville adds +2 to the user's combat factor, shown there. Grom adds +2 to the user's combat factor. Runting adds +1 to the user's combat factor. Also gives users side the option of making another side flee when the combat results table indicates the user's side must flee. Lovi adds +1 to the user's combat factor. In any battle against a side including Jarls, it has an additional +2 to the combat factor. Turfing adds +2 to the user's combat factor. And then Balmung adds +1 to the user's combat factor. In any fight where a user is attacking a side using magic armor, it cancels out the benefit of the magic armor. And there's 4 magic items here. The Brosung necklace, worth 20 marks. Maybe trade for any item in the dragon's hoard. The wearer of the Brosung necklace moves into the area adjacent to that of the dragon, turns the necklace upside down and places it under the dragon while taking what the dragon had. The wearer may then see what he or she had traded for. Freyfaxi. This magic horse can be ridden only 3 times. It doubles the rider's movement factor and will carry any number of riders. Magic shirt. It adds 1 to the combat strength of the wearer when he or she is on a side being attacked. The magic shirt also adds 1 to the movement factor of the person wearing it. And then the mail coat adds 2 to the combat strength of its wearer's side, but only when the wearer is defending. Here's a map, which actually I quite like. It's about 11.5 inches by 14 inches when it's folded out. Of course, it folds up to fit in the plastic box. But I like the ornamentations around the side. Definitely made some effort to give it the feel of the Norse culture that it's based on. And the different colors of the different areas. Obviously, you have England, Ireland, looks like Iceland, Hebrides, Europe, and Scandinavia up here. And the color codes are just to differentiate the areas from each other. There's no like movement factors for different territories or anything. And the blue, of course, is the sea. The way they're set up is each territory's has a name, a number in parentheses, and then numbers with colons. And the number in parentheses is the taxation factor. That's how much money you can collect from there when you own it. The 2 numbers are for randomization. Basically, you roll a 6-sided dice, and if you get a 5 and a 6 on second roll, you would be in Caledonia, for instance. So this is for the randomization of placement. And as far as the names, I mean, some of them make sense. Like, Trondheim is probably in this general area here of Norway. I'm not sure if this comes from a specific map, or if they kind of just took, general names and put them here. But if anybody has insight into that, I'd be curious if there's a specific map, if this came from there. It would be nice if they had space on here. It would be nice if they put the combat results table on here. So that's one area of improvement that I think would be handy. So you wouldn't have to go shuffling through the book. And it's made out of course the map is like poster paper. But overall, I think for a mini game, I think the components are pretty good. Going through the rules here. The objective of each Saga player is to amass as much glory as possible by the end of the game. The hero with the most glory at the end of the 20th turn of play, whether alive or dead, is the winner and will be remembered the longest in the sagas of the Norsemen. All heroes who gain 15 or more points of glory will be accepted into Valhalla to fight for Odin and Ragnarok, the ultimate goal of any Norse hero. Then glory and luck. Glory is the reputation of the hero. It determines who wins the game. Luck represents the good fortune of the hero. The hero gains luck as a result of success in combat. Luck may be used to alter the combat results or to recruit Jarls. Following things can affect glory and luck totals. Hero gets a certain number of glory points or a certain number of luck points according to the following table. For defeating a monster, drow, ghost, giant, troll, witch, shown on the table there. Slaying other heroes or Jarls. When a hero and his or her Jarls slay another hero or Jarl, the hero receives glory for luck equal to 1/2 the combat factor of the hero or Jarls slain, rounding down. Wounding monsters, Jarls, or heroes. 1/2 the luck or glory points rounded down that would be gained for slaying these counters are gained for wounding them. Fleeing battle. Every time a hero is forced to flee a battle, that hero loses 2 points of glory. Recruiting Jarls. Each Jarl recruited by the hero is worth 1/2 his combat factor, rounded down, in either luck or glory. Each Jarl that is slain while in the service of the hero removes from that hero either luck or glory equal to 1/2 the Jarl's combat factor. At the end of the game, each Jarl is worth, in glory, an additional 1/2, rounding down, of his combat factor to the hero he is serving. Note that a hero must always expend a point of luck to recruit a Jarl. Gaining golden luck. At the end of the game, gold and luck are converted to glory points. Every 10 gold marks in the hero's hoard is worth 1 point of glory. And every 3 points of luck remaining in the hero are worth 1 point of glory. Sequence of play, movement. All heroes and Jarls move. The hero with the most glory and his or her Jarls moves first. 2. Combat and Jarls. Combat occurs in the same sequence as movement. Jarls are recruited after combat. Kingdom and taxes. Heroes and Jarls collect taxes from the areas in the hero's kingdom, if any. Place monsters. Number of monsters equal to the number of heroes in play are randomly placed face up by rolling 2 dice and placing the monster in the area indicated. This is done every turn until all counters are used. Dead monsters may not be reused. Place Jarls. Number of Jarls equal to the number of heroes in play are randomly placed face down by rolling 2 dice and placing the Jarl in the area indicated. This is done every turn until all counters are used. Dead Jarls may not be reused. Marked turn. 1 turn is marked off. At the end of the 20th turn, the game is over and the players total their glory to determine who has won. Movement. Counters may move and remain in sea areas just as they were in land. There is no difference between land movement and sea movement. Movement is always voluntary except for certain combat results. Counters do not have to move their full movement rate. All or none of players' counters, hero or Jarls, may move. As long as the counter is moving, it may ignore all of the counters. When a counter chooses to fight, it ends its movement for the turn. Counters may move from one area to any adjacent area, even if the second area is adjacent only by a corner. The counter's movement may be affected by magical treasure or the gods. Combat may only be conducted between counters in the same area. Combat is resolved using the following procedure. Determine the attacker and defender. Roll for a drow, witch, or ghost magic spells. Modify the die roll with luck. Total all modifiers to combat. Runes, guards, spells, magic items, and luck. Roll 1 die and check the combat results table to determine the outcome of the battle after adding all modifiers to the die roll. Apply the combat result. Check to see if a god knows the battle, and that's optional. Heroes must attack at least one monster if there is a monster in the area they are in during the combat portion of the turn. If there is more than one monster, they may choose which one they will fight. They may attack more than one monster in an area. Heroes may also attack other heroes and Jarls, in which case the defending hero Jarl may call for aid to other counters in the area which are controlled by the same player. The attacker must then attack not only the first counter, but all the counters who have come to the aid of the first counter are attacked as well. Heroes may also attack areas, using the area's tax factor as a combat strength. Heroes may attack any combination of the above. Any counter may be attacked any number of times by other counters, with limitation that each counter may attack only once in a combat turn. Drow, witch, and ghost monsters counters have the use of magic spells. These spells take effect before the combat die roll and may modify the results of combat. Ghosts will only use a spell if they roll a 1, 2, or 3, in which case they will cast a spell with that number. Drow, evil dark elves, will roll a die and cast a spell having the number that is rolled. Witches will roll 2 dice and cast 2 spells, one with each of the numbers rolled. If the spell is indicated on each die, it will be cast twice. Modify the die roll with luck. Before the die is rolled, heroes who are involved in battle modify the die roll up or down, one with each point of luck expended before the die is rolled. If there are 2 more heroes involved in the battle, they should each rate how much luck they are using to modify the die roll and how before revealing the amounts simultaneously. Total all modifiers to combat. Runes are learned the first time a hero slays a drow, witch, or ghost. Each hero may learn only 1 rune. The rune may have an effect upon combat. Gods sometimes notice the struggles of men and intervene with them. God's intervention will not change the result of a magic spell. Magic items may add to each other's combat strength on either attack or defense. Roll 1 die and check the combat results table to determine the outcome of the battle after adding all modifiers to the die roll. All modifications to the combat strengths both sides have been made. After they've been made, subtract the defender's strength from the attackers and consult the combat results table, shown there. And you apply the combat result. Attacker killed. Attacker wounded. Heroes on the attacking side are wounded. Jarls on the attacking side are removed from the board and placed upside down in their respective piles, from which they will re-enter play normally. There is no further effect from being wounded, except the Jarls that re-enter play after being wounded are to be considered unrecruited Jarls. Attacker flees. The attacker must immediately move away from the defender at maximum speed in the direction of the defender's choice. If the defender is not a player in the game, the attacker must move toward the hero's home country. If the attacker is in the hero's home country, the next player to attack may move the attacker's country counters in any direction he or she wishes. No result. All counters remain in the area. Defender flees. The defender must immediately move his maximum movement away from the attacker in the direction the attacker indicates. Defender wounded. Heroes on the defending side are wounded. Jarls and monsters on the defending side are removed from the board and placed in their respective piles. They will re-enter play normally. And the defender killed. Then check to see if a god noticed the battle. This is optional. Each player involved in a battle may, if they wish, roll 1 die to see if the battle is noticed by a god. If the player rolls a 1, or a 1 or 2 if the player's hero has the rune Amzir and was involved in the battle, then the battle is noticed. The effects of the gods noticing a battle are covered fully in the section under gods. Modifiers to combat. Spells. Spells are rolled from the following table. Hago. The spell brings down hail and reduces the combat factor of each counter in the area, including the caster, by 1 for the rest of the turn. It also prevents any of the counters from moving by C next turn. This spell covers the land with ice, making it impossible for any hero to found or continue to have a kingdom in the country. Yara. All in the area lose their next turn. Nead. This spell works if the person it is cast against rolls a 1, 2, or 3 in a die. It makes the combat result an automatic and cause all in the area to lose 1 turn. When this spell works only if the person whose counter it is cast upon rolls a 1, 2, or 3 in a die. It forces all the heroes and Jarls to move as far as they can toward the hero's starting country. The hero and Jarls may not attack anything that turn. Year. This spell works if the person is cast against rolls a 1, 2, or 3 in a die. It causes all the counter in the area to be wounded. Luck in combat. A hero may change any die roll which involves the hero or any of his or her Jarls. This is done by spending 1 point of luck for every 1 that the hero wishes to change the number rolled. Luck must be allocated for this purpose before the die is rolled, and is lost even if the addition or subtraction make no difference. When a player recruits a Jarl, he or she must expend 1 point of luck to successfully convince the Jarl to join him or her. If the point of luck is not expended, the Jarl will suffer the actual combat result indicated by the attempt to recruit him. Magic swords. Swords may be used by the hero or lent to one of his or her Jarls. If the Jarl in question is wounded or slain, the sword will remain in the area where the Jarl was wounded or slain until someone comes and picks it up. Other modifiers, magic treasure, runes, and the gods may also affect combat. Options after combat. If a hero is wounded or killed as a result in combat, there are several options open to him or her. If wounded, the hero may heal the wound by spending one turn at rest in the hero's starting country. Any hero who is wounded while having an unhealed wound dies. The rune Ing allows heroes to heal themselves by remaining at rest one turn in any area. If a hero has died, the player may 1. Withdraw from play and total up glory as if the game were over. 2. Restart the hero. A restarted hero gets 3 points of luck in the magic weapon of the old hero, but gets none of the glory, jarls, or wealth. 3. Transfer all the hero's luck to one of his or her jarls and play the jarl as a hero. The jarl counter is thereafter treated as a hero counter. The player loses all accumulated glory but keeps luck, jarls, kingdom, and magic items. Jarls. A jarl is recruited by a hero who beats him in combat and expends a point of luck. Only jarls may be recruited this way, not monsters or other heroes. Only jarls that are face down may be recruited. Jarls are recruited during the combat phase. To recruit a jarl, a hero must first attack the jarl. All jarls are kept face down on the board until they are attacked. Once the jarl is turned face up, the hero must attack. To recruit the jarl, the hero must obtain a FWK result in combat against the jarl, then expend 1 point of luck. The hero must be present in the combat, but may have the help of other jarls. Combat effects will affect the hero, but not the jarl unless the hero declines to expend a point of luck, in which case all effects will be normal. Jarls who are wounded and removed from the board are considered to be unrecruited. Unwounded jarls when they are returned to play. Jarls are used by heroes to increase their combat strengths in battle and to collect hexes. If a recruited jarl kills a monster or hero by himself, the luck or glory goes to his master. Recruited jarls may add countries to their hero's kingdom. No hero may have more than 4 jarls recruited at any one time. Kingdoms and taxes. One of the things that may be done is to start a kingdom. To start a kingdom, the hero moves himself or herself and or any uncontrolled jarls into any country that has not had an is spell cast upon it. The player must then successfully attack the country using the area's tax factor as combat factor. Note that a hero may want to or have to attack other counters in the area at the same time that he or she attacks the country. A successful attack is an attack that yields a result of FWK. If the hero fails, he or she will suffer the adverse result indicated by the combat results table. After the hero has set the country in order, taxes may be collected from the country of return the hero or one of his or her jarls spends in the country. If a country is left for a turn without the hero or one of his or her jarls in it, the country is overrun by bandits, wild animals, and other evil creatures and men, and must be subdued again by a successful attack on the combat results table. The hero adds the taxes to his or her horde immediately if the hero is in the area where they are paid. The hero also adds the taxes to his or her horde if the hero's counter moves through the country after the taxes have been paid to his or her jarl. A jarl may leave an area and travel to the hero with the taxes he has collected. If a jarl is killed after collecting taxes but before the hero has placed the taxes in his or her horde, the killer gets the taxes. If the killer is a jarl, the taxes are not added to his hero's horde until the hero and the jarl are in the same area at the same time. Taxes are transferred merely by placing the counters in the same area at the same point. At some point during movement, a hero with taxes who is slain yields no treasure to the slayer. All taxes are collected in golden marks. The number of gold marks raised each turn is a number equal to the country's tax factor. And other information, gods. For the guide check, this check is entirely the player's option. On a roll of 1 or 1 or 2 if the player has rune Asner, the gods will know to battle. First of all, you figure out which god it was, and then you roll the die. If it's 1, it's Frey, the god of fertility and light. 2, it's Loki, god of luck and trouble. 3, Nord, god of wealth and the sea. 4 Odin, god of battles and death. 5 Thor, god of thunder. 6 Tyr, god of war and the sword. Now roll a second die and check the result with the appropriate god to determine the result. If it's Frey, on 1 to 4, Frey will send a maiden to heal the hero's next wound. This results in the next wound being healed. 5 to 6, Frey will send a maiden to heal the hero's next 2 wounds. The first wound is healed as above. The second wound requires the hero to spend 2 turns with a maiden worshipping Frey. Frey will kill a hero who refuses this gift or does not join the maiden to worship him. Loki, 1 to 3, Loki steals a point of luck from the hero. 4 to 6, Loki grants the hero a point of luck for his or her daring. Njord, on 1 to 2, next time the hero moves by the sea, Njord aids him or her, and the entire sea counts as only one area for movement purposes. 3 to 4, Njord gives 1 to 6 marks to the hero's gift. 5, Njord takes 1 to 6 marks from the hero's sword as due tribute. 6, Njord will kill the hero with sinister sea serpents if he or she travels by sea the next turn. The hero cannot be forced to flee by sea as an adverse combat result. Odin, 1, Odin decides the hero is ready for Valhalla and aids the hero's enemies by adding 3 to their combat strength. 2, Odin aids the hero's enemies by setting a wolf, adding 1 to their combat factor. 3, Odin's ravens are sent by him to observe the battle, but Odin does nothing. 4, Odin sends a wolf to aid the hero, adding 1 to his or her side's combat factor. 5, Odin aids the hero by adding 3 to his or her side combat factor. 6, Odin intervenes personally and adds 5 to the combat strength of the hero. The hero also gains 3 points of glory. And Thor, 1 to 3, Thor decides the hero deserves no reward. 4 to 5, Thor rewards the hero by speaking to him or her, thus giving 1 point of glory. 6, Thor honors the hero by eating with him or her, thus granting 2 points of glory. Tyr, 1, Tyr aids the hero's enemies by adding 1 to their combat strength. 2 to 3, Tyr decides that the fight is balanced fairly and does not intervene. 4, Tyr aids the hero by adding 1 to his side's combat strength. 5, Tyr aids the hero by adding 2 to his side's combat strength. 6, Tyr aids the hero by adding 1 to the combat strength of each person on the hero's side. And the magic treasures, which we talked about, the front of the dragons. Each of the first 4 dragons to be placed on the board will have a magic treasure. When the dragon appears, place 1 of the magic treasure counters under it. The last 2 dragons have 20 marks of treasure instead of magic treasure. All magic treasures are kept face down the board underneath whoever has them at the moment. 1 counter may have any number of magic treasures. Runes. When a hero kills a drow, ghost, or witch, for the first time he or she learns a magic rune. A rune is a poem or song that, when recited, produces some magical effect. Each hero may learn 1 and only 1 rune during the game. To find out which rune the hero has learned, the player should roll below. More than 1 hero may have the same rune, but no hero may have more than 1 rune, and there's no counters for the runes, you just mark them on your sheet. 1 ends here. A hero with this rune has twice the chance of having the gods notice him or her. They notice on a roll of 1 or 2 instead of a roll of 1. Eon. A hero with this rune has a movement factor 1 greater than the factor printed on his or her counter. Jofu. The hero with this rune will have all the areas in his or her kingdom yield 1 additional mark over and above the tax factor each turn. Ying. A hero who has this rune can heal his or her wounds by spending 1 turn anywhere at rest instead of having to return to his or her starting country. Ogul. A hero who has this rune has a combat factor 1 greater than the factor printed on his or her counter. It's the rune of Berserk Fury. Sigil. This rune is the rune of the sun. Every time a spell is cast at the hero who has this rune, the hero rolls a die. If the hero rolls a 1, 2, or 3, the spell does not affect the hero, although it may affect those in the same area with him or her. Runes are assumed to be in effect at all times unless the player specifically states otherwise. Then we'll get into setup and play. Setup and play here. I'll do 2 players. First you choose your heroes. I'll go with Agil and Ragnar. Then you write their name on the character record sheet here for each of them. Then you draw a random magical sword for each. Agil gets Runting. Ragnar gets Lovi. And you indicate that on their sheet. Agil and Ragnar both have a combat factor of 5 and a movement factor of 4. And the Runting magic sword that Agil has +1 to the user's combat factor. Also gives the user side the option of making the other side flee when the combat results table indicates the user side must flee. And then Lovi, which Ragnar has for the magic sword, adds +1 to the user's combat factor. In any battle against a side, including Jarls, it adds an additional +2 to the combat factor. Then you put all the monsters in a pile, face side down, and monsters are ghosts, drow, giants, trolls, and witches. Then you also put all the Jarls in a pile face down here. And take the number of monsters equal to the number of players. I have 2 players. Randomly take them out here. So I have a giant. And a ghost. Then you randomly place them on the board. First a giant. 6, 1. He'll go. Then you go according to the locations here. And the 6-1 is picked land. And then for the ghost, 3, 6, he'll go down to Frisia, which is 3, 6. You place those face up. Then you take the number of Jarls randomly from this is the pile of Jarls. Take a number of Jarls equals number of players. You can have 2 players. Just keep them face down. Randomly place them. 4, 1. The first one will go in Frankland. Second one, 2, 5, will go in Jutland. Then the initial location of the heroes is determined the same way. So for Agil, 4, 2, he'll be in Armorica. And I'll put him there with his magic sword. Then Ragnar, 1, 3. Ragnar will start in Mortaland. And I'll put him there with his magic sword. And in their character sheet, right there, starting country. And they both start with 3 luck, but no wealth and no glory yet. Then we'll get into play. Doing the first turn here. First you go with whoever has the most glory is the first one. But since they both have 0, they'll roll. Ragnar will go first. First movement. He wants to try to gain some territory. Or actually, he's going to go down and try to get this Jarl. He's got a movement of 4. 1, 2, 3. And then Agil will move. Similarly, he'll want to get a Jarl. He'll just move 1 over here. Then we do combat. So combat, Ragnar will combat this Jarl and try to capture him. It's Weiglar. He's got, the Jarl has a combat factor of 3. So when we look at that, Ragnar's got 5, but then he has a +1 in his sword. And also with his sword Lovi, when there's a Jarl on the side that's being attacked, there's an additional +2. So I'll interpret that as if he's going against a Jarl, he gets another +2. So he's got a +3 on top of his 5 with his magic sword. So he's got a total of 8 versus 3. The attacker minus defender is 5. Roll on the table here. If it gets a F, W, or K, he wins. 3. K. Capital K would be the defender killed. And if he didn't use his 1 point of luck, the Jarl would be killed, but he doesn't want that to happen, so he'll expend a point of luck. So he's down to 2 now. And he's captured the Jarl. Indicate that by putting him on top there. That was successful. And then Agil goes. We'll see what Jarl this is. It's got a combat strength of 4 versus 5 for Agil, and Agil gets a +1 with his magic sword, so it's 6 versus 4 or +2. Then we look at the die roll. 4 under +2. Cap left, so the defender would flee, but he'll expend a point of luck. So that doesn't happen, and he'll gain a Jarl. Since they're both successful, they get either luck or glory for that. They take 1/2 the combat factor, rounded down, and they get that in either luck or glory. Agil will take, so the combat factor here was 4, half that is 2. He'll take 2 glory for that, for recruiting that Jarl. And the Jarl that Ragnar recruited had a combat factor of 3, so taking half and rounding that down would be 1. He'll take 1 in luck, so he'll back up to 3. Then kingdoms and taxes. Even though they start in a home country, I don't think they own that country yet, so they won't get taxes there. So there's no taxes from own areas yet. And then place monsters. Take the number of monsters equal to the number of players, which is 2, and then put them, randomly down here. A drow. And a witch. Randomly place those. 5, 2. The drow goes over in David. The witch. 5, 5. Goes over in Defridia. Kind of simulating maybe druids over here. Then we place the Jarls. Take 2 and put them randomly down. Don't look at those. 2, 1. In Jumpland. 2, 3. In Ulster Gotland. Then mark off that turn and go to the next turn. So we'll be on turn 2 now. Ragnar has the most glory, so he goes first this turn. He's not going to move, he's just going to stay in Jutland because he wants to gain that territory. And also, Agil will not move but stay in that territory because he wants to gain that territory. So Ragnar attacks. His combat, he and his Jarl will be attacking Jutland to try to conquer it, to chase out the bandits and get the territory. So they have 5 plus 3, 8. Then he gets +1 with his sword. They're not fighting against any Jarl, so he doesn't get the additional +2. So it's a total of 8 + 1, 9 versus 3 in Jutland, because he used a taxation factor for the combat factor. It might be a little bit tight, so he can expend a point of luck. Every point of luck he expends, he can make his die roll better. He'll do that. He'll expend 1 point of luck, and then he's going in the 9 versus -6 or the 3 column. Rolls the dice. 2, and then +1 because he expended a point of luck. 3. Good. By doing that extra 1 point, he was able to conquer the territory because he got an F there, and you need either FWK, so that was worthwhile to do that. And now he's conquered that territory, and he'll own that territory as long as his Jarl is there, and I'll indicate that. That's the end of his turn. And then Agil will attack Frankland. Try to get that. He's got 5 + 4, 9, +1 more for his sword, so 10 versus 3. So he's got a 7. He doesn't feel he needs to expend any luck on that. 3. Gets a K, so he does get that territory. He'll mark that down. And since they fought in battles, they have the option of seeing if the gods noticed them. Ragnar will check. If he gets a 1, they did. And they did. So then we see which god noticed him. Go on this table. 2. Loki noticed him. On a 1 to 3, Loki steals a point of luck. 4 to 6, he grants a point of luck. 6, he grants a point of luck. So Ragnar gets a point of luck from Loki. And Egil will check. No, he didn't get a 1, so the gods did notice. There's no kingdoms, there's no taxes collected yet. Place monsters. Take the number equal to how many players there are. So there's 2 players. Take 2 monsters, see what they are. Have a ghost. And a dragon. See where they're placed. 2, 6. Ghost is on 2, 6. In Scandia. The dragon. 3, 4. In Finland. Place the Jarls. Equals number of players. 1, 3. In Mortaland. Another Jarl. 1, 5. In Ugdar. Each of the first 4 dragons gets a magic item under it, and we'll randomly take one of the 4 magic items and put it under the dragon. It's not clear if it's supposed to be secret what it is or not, but I'll just keep it random and secret. And that's the end of the turn. Mark it off. Then we go to the next turn. So on turn 3 here, Ragnar still has more glory, so he goes first. He's got 2 glory points. He's going to go after this ghost. He's going to keep his Jarl in Jutland to collect taxes, and he'll move here. and then he'll do a combat there. As far as Egil, he'll go over here and battle this ghost. He's got to leave his Jarl there, so he also gets taxes. Ragnar's combat, he's got a 5 and then +1 on his sword. He's got a 6 total versus 4 for the ghost. Ragnar is attacking a ghost. First we see if there's a ghost, if there's a spell the ghost casts on 1 or 2 or 3, he will. A 2. So the ghost does cast a spell. And the spell is spell covers the land with ice, making it impossible for any hero to found or continue to have kingdom in the country. There's several blank markers that come with the game, so I'll just kind of use this to indicate that this land is covered with ice. It's covered with ice, but they still do the combat. Ragnar's going to spend 1 point of luck, so he gets down from 3 to 2. It's 5 + 1, 6 versus 4, so he goes on the 2 column. Gets a 4. Modify that up to 5. Wounded. Since the ghost is wounded, it's removed from the board and put it in its pile. He was successful in that battle. Since he wounded a ghost, he gets half the glory or luck on this table, and for a ghost, it's half of 2 or half of 2. So he'll take half of the glory, so he'll get 1 glory. So he moves up to 3 glory total. He didn't kill the ghost though, so he doesn't get a rune. And now Egil will attack the ghost. Over here. He's got a 5 + 1, 6 versus 4, so 2. We see if the ghost casts a spell. 1. 1, 2, or 3 casts a spell, and he casts Hoggle, which is 1. Spell brings down hail and reduces the combat factor of each count in the area, including the caster, by 1 for the rest of the turn. It also prevents any counters from moving by sea next turn. So it knocks them both down by 1, so the net effect is the same. He goes from a total of 6 to a total of 5, and then a total of 4 to a total of 3, so they're still at a differential of 5 to 3 or 2. And he'll expend 1 luck point, so he gets down to 1 luck point. Go in the column 2, 5, with a modifier at 6. Kills a ghost, and by killing a ghost he gets, it's removed from play, and he killed the ghost, so by killing the ghost he either gets 2 points of glory or 2 points of luck. He'll take the 2 points of luck since he's running low. He'll get back up to 3 points. And then also by killing a ghost he gets a rune. He'll roll on this table, see what rune he gets. 3. He gets Jofu. It's the rune of Gissen property. The hero with this rune will have all areas in his kingdom yield 1 additional mark over and above tax factor each turn. That's nice. Mark that down. And then they'll each check to see if the gods notice their battle. Ragnar, no, didn't. Egil, no, he didn't. and then collects taxes. For Ragnar and Igil both, they collect taxes, but their hero isn't in the area that they own, so they have to have their Jarl collect the taxes, and it won't go immediately to their horde. The Jarl will be carrying it. And again, there's several blank counters, and I'll use the blank counters just to represent their carrying taxes. And then I'll mark down the number of taxes. So here, Franklin, he's got a +1 in his territory, so he'll be gathering 4. And in Judeland, he gathers 6, so I'll mark that here. Then place monsters. Again, take 2. Have a troll and a ghost. 1, 1. Troll up in Finnmark. For the ghost, 1, 2. Ghost in Trondheim. Place the Jarls, 2 Jarls. 5, 6. In Caledonia, don't know what Jarl it is. Another Jarl, 1, 4. Fittingly, Scandinavia is getting populated with Jarls. And we'll then go on to turn 4. That's Saga from TSR in 1981. Actually didn't have high expectations going into it because it didn't have, a lot of components, and it seemed like it might be fairly simple, but once I got into it, I actually quite enjoyed it more than I expected I would. Components are, not a lot of counters, are simple and one-sided. The map is nice. I like the map. The book is, the rule book is fine. It would have been nice if they would have included separate, character sheets so you don't have to copy them off, but with a minigame you often have to copy things. It'd also be nice if the combat table was on the board, and like randomization of spells, etc. was on the board. But I enjoy it's got, it's tied to kind of some fiction, historical, but also with the dragons, it's, fictional stuff too. But tying into the Ages of Heroes is pretty neat. Like the kind of Norse markings, etc. It's neat you can, develop territories, capture territories, get money, there's battle involved, spells, dragon hordes, magic items, gathering Jarls to help you in battle. That's all good. Movement is simple, but it works fine. It's just, you move, whether in land or sea, it's the same. Combat is straightforward, but it also, you got modifiers there you can use. And that's a good thing. So it's very enjoyable. It's hard to get a copy of out there, but I'm glad I got it. And if you can find it out there, I'd definitely recommend it. I'll give it a pretty high score for a minigame. I think I'll give it a 7 out of 10. Yeah, thanks a lot.